Good morning to all of you. Welcome to the Namaste experience. It's Monday week. It's a new moment. We have faces. It's so lovely to awaken to such a sight, to such a holy vision. Hope everybody had a beautiful weekend. Everybody have a good weekend?
Yes.
Okay. Are you ready to go? All right. Well, then let's go. Let's start here with our opening for prayer. And if you are ready, let's begin. 1 second. Get that out of the way. Okay. My soul has but one goal, to awaken to the truth forever true. My heart has but one desire, to remember the passion of infinite bliss. My mind has but one focus, to embrace the reality that is forever real. I choose to awaken now to the love that is my source. I give everything to this love, just as it has given everything to me. I am awake now. How is everyone today?
Awake and
How
ready.
is everyone today?
Awake and ready.
Right. Well, then let's
Ready.
go. Let me make sure everybody is muted. There we go. So this morning, I want to start off with a phrase, and then we're going to do this and hear what it really means. And the phrase is, God is a jealous God. That's true. God is very jealous.
Have our attention.
Maybe not in the human way that we think of jealousy. I want you, well, actually, it is that way. You know, jealousy in the human sense is, I want all of your attention. I want you to focus only on me. And that's exactly how it is. That's exactly how it is. So let's just dive right into this. We have a new master teacher within lesson, and that's where this came from. So let me read a little bit of this, and you'll see what I mean, and I think you'll understand. So once again, God is a jealous God. If you desire anything other than the beloved, you will receive what you've asked for. You will. But the beloved or God will not be revealed to you. And your longing will not be satisfied. If you long or strive or stretch for anything other than that full, complete realization of love itself, what we call the beloved, you'll get what you want. You'll get, let's talk about the secret for a moment. You'll get the car, you'll get the relationship, you'll get all of those other things that you strive for, but you will never satisfy that true longing. You'll never scratch that itch that never seems to go away. The itch that can only be satisfied by your true communion with love itself, source of all love. Does that make? Do you see why God is a jealous God now? The divine or the universe, whatever word you want to use, will give you everything you ask for, but only one thing is going to satisfy you completely, and that is the full-on experience of your oneness with love, or God, or the beloved. That's it. So this is why we say over and over and over, one desire, one longing, only God. Let that be the pinnacle. Because when that's the only thing you want, it's not seek God first or seek the God first. It's seek that only. And then that's the only thing you will get. Because remember, what you seek, you will find. What you ask for, you will receive. So why not ask for the very top, the very pinnacle of what everything leads to? The expression and the experience of my oneness with reality itself, with love itself. That's why God is a jealous God. Let me read more. Love alone exists. And when you finally accept that only God is, the beloved appears on its own. Until then, it will seem as if many things appear in your mind. Yet a single focus on love is the only thing that will dispel the illusion of separation. A resolute and single focus love. That's the only thing that will dispel all of the illusions in your mind. God is. I've said before that before we painted this beautiful Aztec mural up on the eightplex, my original idea was just to have painted those two words as big as possible. God is. Just to continually remind us that only that truth is true. Only one truth is true. That, in other words, that reality that we sometimes call God is all there is. That's why, for me, giving up the idea of a supreme being or an entity out there somewhere was a critical step, a critically important step to let go of the Zeus or the Santa Claus image of God. There is no God, no old white man with a long white beard, The quicker we give up these images and these attachments to what we think is, the sooner what is can envelop everything. Because it is everything. That's why, for me personally, because I am a Star Wars fan, this that comes to it for me, it's the Force. Because it is the force of all love. That's what the divine is. There is no God. People often ask me, do I believe in God? And the answer is no, I don't believe in a God. I believe in only God. That's the difference. Only God. Once again, love alone exists. Finally accept that only God is, and the I and the S of the word is are capitalized. Then the beloved will appear on its own. When you realize that only God is, only love, love is everywhere. Love is the all-encompassing reality of the universe. And the instant you accept that fully, completely, without any distraction, you see, that's the next part. It says, until then, it seems as if many things will appear in your mind, of course, because they're all of those things in your mind, all of those other desires are there just to distract you from the simplicity of this message, the simplicity of the fact that only love is, only is. So we have to calm our mind. That's the work we have to do. That's the mind training. To let all of those other things that are moving through our minds settle. And they settle by us realizing that they're not what we really want. Whatever it may be, it could be the little or what seems to be the biggest thing. I want abundance. I want a relationship. I want this. I want that. All of these are just distractions because all of these things will be yours if you just seek first, or rather only, the kingdom of God or love itself. Then everything else will be given to you. Isn't that the best news in the universe? Simple. Just after the top. I like to call it the trickle-down theory of enlightenment. Do you remember Reaganomics?
Yeah.
It was pretty silly in terms of economics, but when it comes to a divine lesson, yeah, seek first the pinnacle, the top, the trickle-down, and then everything else, love, light, abundance, everything else will trickle down and affect everything below it. Everything in your life will reflect that single decision of self. Okay, so here's the final part. There's only one question you must ask yourself. Is this the only thing I want? Is union with all that is. The only thing that will satisfy the longing I feel. If you add anything other than yes, only love, only God, then you're not into the temple of love, where the beloved waits for you. You will stand outside in the buying and selling, but never finding. Till we get to the point where all we say is yes, only love, only God. There's nothing else, nothing that I really desire. And my single focus on that, my resolute focus on that uncompromising message, and letting go, letting settle all of those other things, all of those other desires that seem to move through my mind to distract me from that single pointed desire. When I let go of everything else and just come with holy, empty hands unto God. The final part says, God is a jealous God and only appears when your eye is single. Only appears when your eye is single, when you want only one thing. Now, how is that going to show up in your life? Well, that's up to you. How are you going to remind yourself of that? Well, there are lots of ways, but if you remember, the way that the desert fathers did that was, they had, see if you can remember. Number one, anybody remember number one? Nope. That's number three. Number one is flee the world.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we flee the world by deciding here that we really want, right? There's nothing here that will ever satisfy us. So we flee the world. Number two. What was number two? Well, I know oh yeah, be quiet. Flee the world, be quiet, settle the mind, pray without ceasing. So you often see me with prayer beads. That's one of the ways that I pray with. It continually will have a mantra: only love, only love, only love, only. I don't have my prayer bead, but I have a little, you can see it, it's like a little ring that it's called a rosary ring. So I can just click it off finger and no one will ever know. That's my way of praying without ceasing. My question to you is, what's your way? How can your mind focus on that single desire throughout the day so that when all of those other distractions enter your mind, you're able to let them go? So that's the simplicity of this message. Vicki, I'm going to open it up to you now. Love to hear what you have to say.
Well, Brother James, I have a lot to say. But first I want to say is what isn't love is fear. What isn't love isn't. And the best way I know to seek ye first the kingdom, seek for love, is so simple. Just give love. I love Richard Rohr's statement, what another name for Christ is everything. Everything. If we just love in simple stuff, simple ways, this has to get so simple. This awakening has to be this simple. So a little child and crazy clouded-headed adults can finally understand it's only about love. And that if we look for it, it will still elude us. As we give it, it finds us. And it's in everything, the flower, the tree, the vase, the pet, the brother in front of you. So yesterday, and it's true, if our mind holds anything else, it's a thought of fear in a pleasant disguise, perhaps, good or bad, whatever the distraction is. If it's less than love, it's a concealment of love. It is a turning away from love. What isn't love is simply fear. And if we return to love, we can return in a heartbeat. It may be giving love to ourselves. It may be something, have a cup of tea, but it's an experience, not a concept of love activated through us. So yesterday, I go to church with my son, and the whole family goes to this little Catholic church here in Flemington. And they weren't here because they were away visiting Alicia's family. So they were having a spaghetti supper last night. And first I thought, oh, that's fun, I'll go. I love spaghetti. But then it came around 4 o'clock and I wasn't hungry. I said, I'm not going to go and eat spaghetti. I'm just going to relax. But I'm sitting here and loving the cup of tea I was having. And I knew I got this prompt. This is the other thing. When we focus on love only, our minds are clear. They're not clouded. So we can so love brings its own direction, whether we call it guidance or the Holy Spirit. We know what we're to do, how we're to be here in time. So anyway, I'm sitting there and I know I'm supposed to go to the spaghetti supper. Hungry or not, you're supposed to go. Get up and go. Okay. So I get up and I go to the spaghetti supper. And I'm all alone, and there are lots of people there, and they're all sitting at family tables, and they bring bottles of wine, and they've got Dean Martin singing Italian songs. It's really fun. And the Knights of Columbus are running it, and there are all these Knights of Columbus, all ages too. So I go up and I get a little plate of spaghetti and meatballs, and I go sit down. There's an empty table because all the other tables seem pretty full. And I just sit down and I say, well, you brought me here. I'll just love everybody. So I'm just sitting there. And then two of the Knights of Columbus guys that are working came and sat with me, one young and one older. And the older gentleman, the young one was wonderful too, but the older gentleman just had a talk. And he's just telling me everything. And what he's telling me is somehow he was a refugee years ago from India. And 20 years ago, he came to this little town and he had gone into the church. He's not Catholic or Christian. And he looks to the corner and he sees two angels. Oh, two angels. That's a big thing. So he decides, I better become a Catholic. So he gets baptized and he becomes a Catholic. So for the last 20 years, he moved his whole family, brought his children up here. They're all grown up. He's 84 years old. I thought he was about 64. I thought he was probably years younger than me. 84 years old, vital, in perfect health, doing all this work, getting things done. And he said from that day on, he knew God told him all he was supposed to do is bless everybody. And that's what he did. And I've noticed him at the church because I can feel that blessing and that love. He said, that's all I do. They come in and I'm saying, I bless you, I love you, I bless you, I love you, I bless you, I love you. And then he said, you know, the funniest thing happens. Everybody somehow tells me they're sick. So I decided, what am I going to do? He says, write your name down because he doesn't write English. And you write your name down and he takes your little name. This is his other job. And he brings it and he puts it under a statue of Jesus somewhere in the church. And he says, everybody, he doesn't, you know, he says, God's in charge. Everybody gets better. Whoever's name he brings to the statue, puts it under there and forgets about it because it's not his job. His job is to give love. And that's what his life is. And I can't tell you, it's like an encounter with the surprise and the love of God. That's the other thing. If we are here only to love, see how simple that makes everything? I'm only here to love. When we're here only to love, everything else becomes a surprise. It's like, who knows how it's going to show up? Who knows? It's like, here I am, moved into a little town, never thought I'd be here. And it's delightful. I'm having so much fun. Love is a surprise. It isn't, I get the car, I get the relationship. It's, I don't care. It just shows up in a form that's perfectly suited for us where we find ourselves to fulfill our function of simply loving. That's all there is to do. We're here to love. So my little man's name, he took Nicholas, a Christian name. He's here to love, and that's what he does. And he's one of God's, he's an awakened being, an awakened soul. 84, and he looks maybe 64.
Wow.
Thank you, everyone. I love you all. I see Artie in the room and Prem in the room and all our family. Thank you, Brother James.
Thank you. I think we should all get t-shirts made that say, I am here to love. Wouldn't that be nice? just to walk around. Wouldn't it be incredible if all of us here at Namaste Village and everyone in our extended communities walked around wearing that one shirt? First of all, they would think, well, that's the I am here to love cult. Fine, let them think that. If you're going to be in a cult, that'll be the right cult to be in, or the right group to be in, because we're only here to love. That's it. How simple. It makes it. And remember, if you are only here to love, then that's the only thing that you're going to see and receive. So let all of these other distractions in your mind fade away. Let them dissolve. You don't really want them, truly. You think you want all these other things, but they're never going to give you what you want. They're never going to give you what they promise. Only that single pointed desire for the full expression of love itself will remind you that you are the perfect extension of love itself. You can be nothing but that. It's the only thing that is true. So let it be true in your life. Amen. You guys got it? We ready to do that? Who's making the t-shirts?
Oh, we gotta get Owen on the phone.
Oh, and yes. All right, let's take a deep breath as we just let this sink in. I'm here but to love. I'm here but to bless. I'm here but to see the face of Christ everywhere, because that's where it is, everywhere and in everyone. And if I simply follow through on that single desire will have always followed through with me. That's the only thing I know for sure. When my frequency and my desire for love itself matches love's desire for me, that's when I get it. That's when I'm home. And so we say together, Amen, 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 y punto. Thank you. Have a wonderful Monday, everybody. We love you.
I love you. I'm so happy to
Thank
be here.
you.
And I
you
love
all.
your concert.
Thank you.
I'm laughing.
Love you.